Thank you for having me on this ET BFSI Converge 2021. Pleasure to have this opportunity to talk about the Aadhaar story and what we plan to do over the next few years. As you would be aware, we've reached a stage where 99.5% of adults in the country have the Aadhaar card. We've issued about 130 crore Aadhaar cards, and even children right from the age of 0, they are eligible for the card. There are various protocols that we have in place on how their biometrics are to be captured at different ages. Apart from that, with the JAM Trinity, we have reached a stage where we have 130 crore Aadhaar cards, 140 crore bank accounts, and 120 crore mobile phones. Though obviously the phones and the bank accounts may not be uniquely different, a person can have more than one, but the fact remains that we are nearing universal coverage even in these two aspects, which are perhaps the basic foundation blocks for any fintech company to move forward if they have a bank account and a mobile phone. What is more heartening is that near more than 70 crore bank accounts are already seeded with Aadhaar, and that number continues to grow. And that would mean that Aadhaar as the financial address would become more and more prevalent as we move ahead. In any case, the DBT program that the government is implementing has ensured that deduplication, removal of ghost beneficiaries, etc. So the benefits which flow out of uniquely being able to identify a person, those benefits the government programs are seeing to occur to them. And there are substantial savings, nearly 2 lakh crore savings that the government has done because of the identification through the Aadhaar ecosystem. A large number of BFSI companies are already through the Aadhaar payment bridge and the Aadhaar-enabled payment systems are getting the benefit of reaching the last mile and getting onto the first mile side of contact with the customer. And going forward, we expect this to deepen. We have recently reduced the rate for full eKYC, Know Your Customer authentication, to only ₹3. We already have a simple yes-no kind of a confirmation, which only costs 50 paise. And in any case, the resident can themselves do the authentication free of cost. So we have different price points at which, depending on the level of information that is required, and at very, very reasonable. So I expect the different players in the industry to take up the benefits of this Know Your Customer authentication to greater heights. Apart from the financial sector, many of the industries are working, for example, in the investment, in the pension, in the insurance industries. And I think the onboarding offered through the Aadhaar ecosystem would be extremely beneficial in onboarding new customers in any of these three areas also, the way it has happened in the banking sector. So I think going forward, we are working with different partners, stakeholders, on seeing how the Aadhaar ecosystem can be leveraged effectively to ensure that a larger number of people also get onboarded. So as I mentioned, while mobile and banking, we are at more than 100 crore accounts each. I think we have different pension schemes, the Atal Pension Yojana, which is at 3 crores, which is growing rapidly. We have the investment mutual funds, which are in the region of 8 to 10 crores, which have substantial scope for growth. And so has the insurance sector. We hope that different APIs and different such programs can be developed using the Aadhaar ecosystem, and while maintaining the privacy and data security standards, which I'm sure all industry people are already doing. Apart from this, our efforts are to how to ensure that enrollment of even the 0.5% people, adults who don't have it, how they can get it. And we are obviously moving in that direction. And we are looking at different modes of authentication so that it becomes simpler for people to be able to authenticate. So as we move ahead, we are running some pilots also in this direction. So as we move ahead, so we will have alternatives apart from fingerprint, iris, and an OTP-based authentication. We are looking at other modes also, and that will further ease the onboarding process. Our focus in Aadhaar is to continue on the ease of living and how we can support the ease of living for people, because the Aadhaar becomes the single identity which is universally available and authenticable at any time. So with these two attributes and the fact that it is a non-repudiable form of identity that a person carries themselves with it, these combined, I'm sure, would further help to develop each of the different industries that the different people are working on. We are constantly striving to improve the resident experience on given the kind of feedback that we get. We get nearly 2.5 lakh calls on a daily basis on queries, problems, issues. And we are happy to say that more than 98% of them we are able to resolve within the timeframes that have been set out in our different service level agreements that we have. Given the fact that out of the 120 mobile connections, mobile phones that there are, we have nearly an 80 crore smartphones that exist. We are looking at how the smartphone can develop as a universal authenticator. So that's an area of work that is ongoing, and we hope that we would be able to proceed rapidly in that direction. And that would help people to be able to do authentication right from where they are living, staying, etc. Apart from that, a large number of the industry participants, whether they are commercial banks, payment banks, small finance banks, they are already part of our ecosystem as authenticating user agencies. And we would be happy to have a larger set of such agencies who are part of our authenticating ecosystem, so it becomes easier for them on the onboarding process. And I think the costs of this authentication, as I mentioned earlier, we've already reduced it considerably. So I think we are also looking at how we can further try and streamline the process of onboarding different companies. And we look forward to partnering with different agencies in this sector as we go ahead. So with these words, once again, thank you for inviting me. And on our part, from the UIDAI ecosystem, we would be happy to work with the different stakeholders, partners in the industry on how Aadhaar can further facilitate things easier for the residents in the country, and while, of course, maintaining full privacy and data security that is expected of us. Thank you. Thank you so much.